Ready? Yeah, I can do that. It's kind of a crappy PowerPoint. I just can't bring in all the ingredients I need. I don't have a big enough car. All right, we ready? I already know you guys like to drink, obviously. But how many of you really like to pay for it? Probably none of you. So I'm going to go ahead and teach you how to make actual liquor. Like he told you to buy vodka, I'm telling you how to make vodka. All right, you're going to need, go ahead and... Teaching you fermentation. Fermentation is basically taking yeast, sugar, and water and letting them fight. When they're fighting, they're creating alcohol. In order to do this, you're going to need basically a 6-gallon bucket. You're going to need a gallon glass jug to use as your starter. I'll explain that later. 1 vial of high-gravity yeast. Again, I'll explain it later. 11 pounds of pure cane sugar. You can buy that at Albertsons, really. They have 25-pound bags. You're good. You need a 1 4-ounce container of yeast nutrient. It's kind of to feed the yeast to make it work. And lots of water. Go ahead. Again, these are glass carboys. These are the big jugs that you're going to use to put everything in. Before you start anything, you need to sterilize everything. And when I say sterilize, I mean pour bleach on you, pour bleach in the buckets, pour bleach on everything. You need to make everything as if you're going into surgery. Otherwise, you're going to get bacteria and it's not going to work. All right, go ahead. This is your yeast. You can buy these. All this can be bought at Homebrew Mart. Homebrew Mart's off the 8, just buy the 5. They'll tell you how to do anything you want to do if you really want to know more. That's your sugar. 25-pound bag. I think that was $5. Like, cheap. Real cheap. So you're going to have to make a starter with the yeast. So what you do is you're going to open your yeast and you're pouring it into that 1-gallon jug. You're going to use about 1 pint of 90-degree water, 1 of those vials, and about a half a teaspoon of the nutrient that I told you about. Put it all together, let it sit for about 10 minutes. After about 10 minutes, you take it, you put a paper towel over top of it, seal it with, wrap it around with a rubber band, and shake the living shit out of it. You want that yeast to wake up and start working. Because the process of fermentation is basically yeast meets sugar, it eats the sugar, then it pisses alcohol and farts CO2. I shit you not, that's what happens. Go ahead. This is a brewing thermometer. That's what you're probably going to use to keep your temperature, because basically everything has to be done at a certain temperature when you mix it together. Once you got your starter going, you leave the starter going for about 24 to 36 hours, shaking it periodically, keeping it moving. After that, you kind of, you have to start boiling sugar and water. You got to try to make it a solution of sugar water. And you want to cook out any bacteria that's in the water. Like I said, everything has to be sterile. So you're boiling the crap out of 11 pounds of sugar and water. Get all that done. You're going to mix it all together. You're going to take your starter, your sugar water, put it in that big jug I showed you earlier. Then you're going to take about another 5.5 teaspoons of that nutrient that I showed you, put that in the jug. When that's all mixed together, you're going to seal it with a plug. That's a plug. And that's a fermentation lock. Fermentation lock is basically, because like I said, it farts CO2. So when you seal this bottle, it's going to start expanding because the CO2 is being created. That fermentation lock keeps anything from going in, but allows CO2 to come out. When you put that into that hole, you're going to fill one of these with about a shot of vodka, because vodka's sterile, it's liquor, so that it keeps a seal, but still allows air to come out. I think that's about my last one. No, I don't know. But once you get all that together, you're going to let it sit 3 to 9 days. If it's sitting for 3 to 9 days, during the time it's sitting, it's going to settle. There's going to be yeast at the bottom and liquid at the top. You're going to take a hose, fill it with water, stick it in the top of the bucket of the jar, and the other end into another bucket, and release it. What that's going to do is suck the liquid out and leave the sediment in the bottom of the original one. So when you're done, after doing that a couple times, about a week, you have clear liquor. It's not going to be that strong. It's going to be about 25% alcohol, but you could always try to distill it. I'm not going to tell you how because it's highly illegal, but you will get drunk. It's probably going to taste like crap, but that's where he comes in. You can go with what I just told you to make and take his process and turn it into something that's going to taste good too. So now, let's get drunk.